Imagine walking into a luxury store. Marble floors gleaming, chandeliers sparkling overhead, walls lined with handbags worth more than most people's rent. A place meant to scream wealth, exclusivity, and elegance. But instead of being welcomed, you're treated like an intruder, mocked, insulted, and then slapped across the face by the store manager in front of everyone. Now imagine the person you just slapped isn't just any customer, but the CEO of the entire luxury empire. This is exactly what happened to Zara Williams, and what followed wasn't just a scandal. It was the beginning of a revolution that no one, not the manager, not the employees, not even Zara herself, could have predicted. It started like this. Zara walked into store 47 dressed casually. No designer logos, no flashy jewelry, just a plain dress and a calm presence. To the employees, she looked like someone who didn't belong. The whispers began. She can't afford anything here. Why is she just standing around? The stares followed. Then came Janet Morrison, the manager. Sharp heels clicking against the marble, lips curled into a smirk. "Excuse me," she said loudly, making sure everyone could hear. "We don't allow loitering. If you're not shopping, you need to leave." Zara stayed calm, but before she could even open her mouth, Janet's hand struck her cheek. The slap echoed through the store like a gunshot. Gasps filled the air. A blogger named Riley, who just happened to be live streaming, turned her camera. Dozens of phones shot up recording. The video would soon go viral. But in that moment, the store froze. Janet stood tall, her arms crossed, as if she had just defended her exclusive boutique. Zara's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in something far more dangerous. A deep, calculating silence. That's when she quietly spoke. "You've made a very big mistake." Confusion spread. A mistake? What did she mean? But before anyone could ask, Zara pulled out her phone. Within minutes, corporate lawyers were walking into the store. Security cameras were accessed. Employees whispered nervously. Something was happening. Something Janet didn't understand yet. By the end of the day, millions had already seen the video. Manager slaps black woman. Outrage exploded online, but the truth hadn't even been revealed. The world still didn't know that the woman in the video was the CEO. Zara waited, letting the story spread, letting the tension rise, before finally stepping forward. "I am Zara Williams," she announced at a press conference packed with reporters. "CEO of Williams Luxury Group, the company that owns Store 47. The room erupted, gasps, shouts, reporters fighting to ask the first question. Janet's face went pale. Social media doubled down. People demanded Janet's firing. Hashtags like #SackFireJanet trended worldwide. By all accounts, her career was finished, but when Zara stepped up to the microphone again, she shocked everyone. "Firing. Janet would be easy," she said. "It would make headlines. It would satisfy outrage. But it would change absolutely nothing." The room went silent. Even Janet looked up, confused. Then came the twist. Zara reassigned her. Effective immediately, Janet was no longer the manager of Store 47. She was now in charge of a new division, diversity and inclusion, with one mission: to eliminate the very discrimination she once practiced. And her success wouldn't be measured by profits. It would be measured by the satisfaction of black and minority customers. Janet wasn't fired. She was forced to confront her own prejudice every single day. The punishment wasn't revenge. It was poetic justice. But Zara wasn't done. She announced the launch of the Lux Respect app, a direct pipeline for customers to report discrimination straight to corporate. No more middle managers burying complaints. Every report would be seen. Every report would be answered within 24 hours. The audience leaned forward. What was happening here wasn't just accountability, it was a complete rewriting of the system. Then came another bombshell, a $25 million dignity fund to compensate victims of bias, mandatory ongoing training for all 15,000 employees, and a pledge that 40% of all vendor contracts would now go to minority-owned businesses. The applause was deafening. Even viewers online, now numbering in the hundreds of thousands, filled Riley's live stream with comments. "This is history. This is real change. This is how you fix racism." And in the middle of it all stood Marcus, the quiet security guard who had tried to de-escalate earlier. Zara turned to him. "Marcus, I'd like to offer you a promotion, to lead security training across all 847 stores." The crowd erupted. Justice wasn't just about punishing the guilty, it was about rewarding integrity. But the true suspense came later, because Zara's decisions didn't just change one store. They changed an entire industry. 6 months later, Store 47 reopened, not as the shame of the company, but as its crown jewel, the flagship of reform. Brad Hutchinson, once complicit, now stood on stage at Harvard, teaching future leaders about the cost of discrimination. Janet Morrison, the disgraced manager, became the architect of diversity reforms studied around the world. Marcus trained hundreds of new security professionals in dignity and de-escalation. And Zara? She graced the cover of Time as CEO of the Year. Not for building a luxury empire, but for building a new standard of justice. But the real twist wasn't in the headlines. It was in the invisible changes, the discrimination that didn't happen, because employees remembered Zara's story. The moments of respect that replaced moments of humiliation, the systems built to protect dignity before it could be stolen. And it all started with one slap. So I'll ask you, if you were Zara, what would you have done? Fire Janet? Or force her to change? Share your thoughts in the comments and tell your own story, because your story matters. Together, our voices can turn moments of injustice into movements of transformation. Subscribe to the Black Anthology for more stories that reveal the hidden power of resilience, justice, and change. Because sometimes the smallest act of cruelty can spark the biggest revolution.